Hey everyone, I'm back with another video. Today I wanted to show y'all this bug out that I unboxed the other day. Just do a good review, show y'all all the details and specs, and do a lot of comparisons because I got a handful of knives next to me that I can compare to for y'all. But let's get into this. So of course this is the 535-2002 Bugout, and you can see that it's a Blade HQ exclusive, and it's also in 20 CV blade steel. So of course these are the blue class, which is just their everyday carry, normal stuff, and then this is their Life Sharp warranty that you can take advantage of at any time, and they do great work taking care of you. And this is a 2024 knife. It was made late last year. So they've been making these for a while, but I finally picked up one, and I got it on a great deal. The deal is over, but it's still not terribly expensive for a Bugout. But here it is. Of course, this has this nice diamond patterned G10 handles, and it's just like a light gray. It's kind of a chalk color, if you know the Porsche color chalk, or the some of the new Kias have this kind of color. It's just like a light gray, light bluish gray, and then all the hardware is satin, including the liner and the access bar, clip, screws, everything except for the titanium accented green thumb studs and the 2 barrel spacers. It also has a lanyard hole, standard to all Bugouts. So let's check out this blade. You can see the Benchmade logo and then the 535 under that, which is 535 is the standard Bugout number. But it is a satin finish drop point, has some swedging at the top, and has a very nice hollow grind on this blade. I don't think y'all can tell, but it does have a hollow grind on this blade. And then they mark it with the blade steel on the back towards the spine of the knife, and this one's 20 CV. So 20 CV is a awesome steel. It's going to be 59 to 61 HRC from Benchmade, but it's a very high performing steel. It's kind of cousins to M390, so it has great, amazing edge retention. I think Benchmade quotes it as having the highest edge retention on any of the steels they use. And then of course, amazing corrosion resistance, but with high edge retention and high corrosion resistance, it kind of takes away from strength and toughness, which if you're using a knife like this, you want to take care of it. You don't want to, bang on it and worry about hurting the blade. It's going to be strong enough where it can do hard work, but a Bugout's not designed for super hard work. Of course, these are inset liners, so you can just see inside there where that liner ends. It ends right here at this screw, and it's inset because the G10 is milled out and the liner just sits down in there nicely and then is screwed in. Of course, it does have the axis lock. The axis bar runs on Omega springs, so it wraps around here and comes down in here like a C. I know you can't see through the knife, but this is how you can see where it starts here, and then it wraps around and then comes down here. And then of course on both sides it's opened out where you can see where that Omega spring sits and where it holds this axis bar in between the bar and the tang of the knife. So all you do is just pull down on there and it relieves the tension on the tang of the blade, and then it's free to close. This is a newer Benchmade, so it needs some time to wear down. So on some, they'll make it where you can just pull down and it'll just drop close, but this one hasn't been used very often. I just got it and I've been messing with it, and it has seemed to loosen up a little bit, but of course brand new haven't used it very often to show off how smooth the action can be while closing it. But easy flicking deployment, super smooth action on flipping it out. And if you just do a flick of your wrist, kind of like this, you pull down on the axis lock. Of course, it's not going to do right here, but you pull down on the axis lock. I do both fingers. You can just do it with your thumb, which probably is easier for some people. But you just want to flick it down, and the blade will glide into where it won't cut you. So, pretty awesome knife. I did want to talk about the G10 compared to Grivory. This is the Mesa Red Mini Bugout in Grivory, and Grivory is just a plastic. It's just a plastered plastic, and it's super lightweight, which is the awesome thing about it. And it is super strong, even though there is some give, and that's kind of people's main complaint about it. But at the end of the day, it's plastic. What do you expect? But G10 is going to be a little different. It is layers of fiberglass, and then it's encased in really tightly compressed into resin, where it's a super stable material, very strong. And even the G10 has a little bit of give. You can't tell, but it does have a little bit of give even with the G10, but it is a super strong material. And then I have both of these side by side. You can tell that the Bugout is substantially bigger, coming in at the, hold on, I'm getting my information out. Closed length, so handle, is 4.22 inches. Open length, all the way open, is 7.46, which means the blade length is 3.24. So it is a full-size knife in my eyes. Fits full hand grip, fits nicely. While the Mini Bugout is more user-friendly for smaller hands, which I really like the Mini Bugout, but I do like having a full-size knife on me. Blade length, they're pretty similar. There is not that much difference in cutting edge on the Mini Bugout, but the handle length is kind of where they differ. That's pivot to pivot. The Bugout is a lot bigger than the Mini, while the blades are pretty similar. So G10 is going to be the better material in my eyes. It's super lightweight. Some people will say that the weight makes a difference on the G10, but it really doesn't. These are 2.17 ounces, so it's already a super lightweight knife. The only difference with the handle is only like 0.3 ounces or something like that. It is not substantial at all where you would even tell. I mean, where you do tell is on the Mini Bugout with Grivory. This is 1.5 ounces. So if you want a super lightweight knife, go with the Mini. But if you want a full-size knife that's still already super duper light, I would go with the Bugout. And if you can, find one with G10 handles in 20 CV. Great deal I got on this. I think normally they're about $220 if I had to guess, but right now they are $180, but I got mine for $150 on Blade HQ. So they just did a closeout sale for Black Friday, and they were doing 38% off that $180 price, but that $180 was already knocked down from their original price of $200 plus. I don't know exactly how much they were, but it was a lot more expensive than what I got it for. Another knife I wanted to compare to that a lot of people are familiar with is the Para 3 from Spyderco. Pivot to pivot. Handle lengths are very similar. You get more handle on the Para 3, plus you get some jimping right here on the finger choil that really allows you to get a good grip on the handle and on the blade. Cutting edge, the Bugout is longer on the cutting edge, but blade length is pretty similar, but because of that choil here, it really lowers the cutting edge. But size-wise, they're very comparable, but blade length, you would probably be closer to a Paramilitary 2 and blade length towards the Bugout. So, of course, the Para 3 lightweight is super lightweight, and it has this compression lock, kind of a Bugout competitor, even though it is from Spyderco, and it's a completely different design language, but weight and size, very similar. And then, before I just start going all out Benchmade, I wanted to compare it to my UTX-85. Very similar sizes as well. Handle length, nearly identical. Of course, the UTX-85 has that glass breaker, but that is not usable hand space. And then blade length, nearly the same. Let me angle this where you can probably tell a difference, but the Bugout is a little bit longer. Cutting edge, from cutting edge to cutting edge, the Bugout is longer, but very similar size blades. Of course, this is an OTF, well, this is just a folder, but very similar sized knives as well. And then I got a couple case knives. I know these have no correlation really, but this is a Sod Buster Jr. And it's a lot smaller than the Bugout, and the Sod Buster Jr. is it's closer size to the Mini Bugout, which is pretty much the same length and handle wise. Blade length and handle are pretty much the same. But of course, the full-size Bugout is going to be a lot bigger. But a bigger case knife would be the Trapper. And this is my Trapper with this clip point blade. Similar handle lengths, pretty much the same handle length. And then similar blades, where cutting edge, they are nearly identical. I cannot tell. There might be a little bit of difference, but from my view, they are the same length. And they're nearly identical in size. Of course, these are slip joints with the case knives, and it's two-bladed, while this is just a folder with the axis lock. But I do have a bunch of Benchmades as well that I can compare, or I have two more I can compare. This is the Mini Griptilian. A lot of people like the Mini Griptilian for its size and utility, and it really is a Bugout competitor in the eyes of a Benchmade. But blade length, the Bugout is bigger, and cutting edge, of course, the Bugout has more cutting edge as well. Handle length, the Bugout is bigger as well, but that is a good comparison with the Mini Grip. Also, I can do this too. The Mini Griptilian has a bigger handle, but I think the Mini Grip has a better, allows more hand space because you can grab higher up on the knife compared to where this has a ridge or where you can get a good grip on it on a Mini Grip. So usable handle space, the Mini Bugout has more, but this knife is more ergonomic than the Mini Bugout, in my opinion. But there you can see the full-size Bugout next to the Mini Grip. Of course, the full-size Bugout is a big knife. And then, of course, the Osborne, the 940 Osborne is a staple in Benchmade's line, and they are also very similar in sizes, with the Osborne being a bigger knife. Handle length is longer, and then blade length is also longer. The Osborne has a thicker blade stock and a longer edge, while the Bugout has a really thin blade stock, and it makes it super slicey compared to the smaller blade, smaller height at least, but longer in length on the Benchmade. 940 Osborne. Of course, these are both G10s. This one has this diamond pattern, while this one's just a smooth G10. But the 940 Osborne and 940, or the 940 Osborne and the Bugout, are very similar in their dimensions. So if you want a bigger knife, go with the 940. I think it's just a harder use knife compared to the Bugout. This is the G10 version of both of them, and they're both super lightweight anyways. So then one more thing I wanted to talk to y'all about are replacement scales. I've been thinking about maybe titanium, while I went with micarta on my mini Bugout from Flightanium. Of course, these are the same exact knife as I showed earlier with the mini Bugout, but the aftermarket scales really gives it some character. Before anything, I think I want to do a backspacer that completely encloses this back part, like on the micarta one, that would replace these barrel spacers. And maybe replace these thumb studs as well. I'm not gonna say I dislike the green, but it's really not my cup of tea. It's unique. It gives it some character. For it being a Bugout, it gives it some character, having the green on the, giving it a pop color. But I think I would like just a solid just satin look with titanium thumb studs and then a titanium backspacer. I think that would look pretty awesome, and it would make it more neutral, because I'm weird and I have so many knives. I am able to just match my outfits with the knife I'm carrying that day. If I have a blue outfit, I carry my Microtech. If I have an orange outfit, I carry my mini Bugout. So it's just, I'm weird. If I have a green outfit, I carry my Osborne. So that's how I carry my knives and how I decide on what I want to carry. So having green on there makes me want to not carry it unless I'm wearing something green, which I know that's stupid and it sounds ridiculous, but that's just how my mind works. But if I had titanium thumb studs and a backspacer that's just one color in titanium, it makes it very, very friendly to my odd style choices. Same thing with this. It's micarta and it has a black blade and black hardware. I can use this with any outfit and it's pretty normal. This with the green throws me off a little bit, even though there's not much difference. But like a black knife with just silver hardware, you can wear with any knife, you know? So I know I'm weird, but I know there's probably somebody like that out there too. But I know this was a longer video than usual, but I wanted to show this Bugout because it is a very, very popular knife. I know it has a cult following with some people, but then some people hate it, you know? So it's just kind of, it's kind of a weird knife and very polarizing. It's very controversial with the pricing. I'm not one to defend Benchmade's pricing, but they make a very solid knife. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thank y'all for watching to the end, and make sure y'all leave any thoughts and comments down below, and y'all have a great rest of y'all's day. I'll see y'all later. Bye.